Hello there, everybody. This is Zaxter99. Again, we're talking about my Dallas Cowboys TNT, and right here in front of you, I have a picture of a video posted on YouTube from a couple of weeks ago. This is one of the big reasons why I hate Philadelphia Eagle fans. And I was talking about this in my last video before Dallas played the Eagles again. And it's guys like this guy. And I have a link right down below to one of his videos. And you can see this guy spitting and slobbering all over himself about the Cowboys and saying that LaShawn McCoy is better than, DeMarco Murray, and how the Eagles are way better than the Cowboys and how they'll always own the Cowboys. And doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's just more or less a lot of screaming and ranting, uh, about how much he hates the Cowboy fans. But anyway, I'm going to talk about that and the Cowboys' victory and what the Cowboys have to do to make the playoffs in this video. All right, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and show this guy one more time. Again, if you haven't heard him, this is the typical Eagles fan. Go ahead and click the link below and check out his ranting. If you want to see why I hate Eagles fans, this is why. Just click that link below. But also, I'm going to go ahead now at this point and show this guy how much better, as he says, LaShawn McCoy is than DeMarco Murray. Let's take a look this year, because he talks about in this video, he doesn't care about years past. He talks about right now. What's going on right now? Well, right now, the Cowboys just got revenge on the Eagles and dominated the Eagles and took first place in the NFC East. That's what's happening right now, Mr. Eagles fan for life, 17. But let's take a look at those stats and just see if you're right about right now, LaShawn McCoy being better than DeMarco Murray. All right, and here we go. We see that number one rusher in the NFL right now is DeMarco Murray. I don't know if this guy knew this or not. 1,687 yards. That's more than 500 yards more than LaShawn McCoy at this point in the season, 2 weeks before the season ends. We also see that DeMarco Murray has 0.7 yards more per rush average, 4.8 to 4.1. He has 40 more yards per game, 120 to 80, and 11 to 4 touchdown ratio on the season. So I'd like for him to come back and explain to me how he figures LaShawn McCoy at this point, since he wants to talk about right now, how he figures that LaShawn McCoy is a better back than DeMarco Murray. Just because the Eagles stopped Murray doesn't mean that McCoy's a better back. So I'd love for him to get back to me and explain to me how in the hell he figures McCoy's a better back in the NFL than DeMarco Murray, at least at this point. Nobody's beaten DeMarco Murray this year. DeMarco Murray, right now, he wants to talk about right now, Murray's a beast. He is the beast of the NFL. I suppose next this guy is going to talk about how Mark Sanchez is a way better quarterback than Tony Romo this year. Or maybe he's going to tell me Nick Foles is a way better quarterback than Tony Romo. Who knows what he's going to say. I think somewhere in his video he was ranting about how Macklin was a way better receiver than Dez Bryant too. So, maybe it was either that video or the video a week or two before where he was basically saying Macklin is better than Dez Bryant. So, I don't know. It is what it is, and this is the kind of guy that Cowboy fans typically have to deal with, and this is the reason that Cowboy fans hate the Eagles. It's not so much the Eagles themselves, it's guys like this guy. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about something else. You're welcome for the extra views. If anybody clicked on your link there, Mr. Eagles fan for Live 17, go ahead and say thank you to me for any extra hits you get on your videos. Anyway, the Cowboys had a dominant win Sunday night against the Eagles. They got revenge. They took first place in the NFC East, and I was really happy to see it. And I think I pretty closely predicted that score. I think I said 38-28 was my prediction, maybe 38-27. That's exactly what the score was. If you watched my video just a few days ago, I predicted the Cowboys would win this game, that they'd come back and get revenge, and pretty much everybody would play better. Tony Romo played a hell of a lot better. Dez Bryant was a beast. Again, the Eagles, I give the Eagles defense credit where credit is due in stopping DeMarco Murray. But in the end, they couldn't stop Tony Romo and they couldn't stop Des Bryant. Dallas was also super efficient on third down and kept a lot of drives alive and put it in the end zone. A lot of Eagle fans, I can imagine. I really want to talk about this because I can imagine when the Cowboys jumped up 21 to nothing, seeing their faces, seeing how upset they would have been. But then when the Eagles came back and poured it on and had some things go their way, and they came back and went up 24 to 21 with Darren Sproles running in the end zone there. I'm sure the Eagles were jumping up and down and thinking again that they caused Dallas to collapse in December and that they were going to pull this one out, and they were probably jumping up in joy when that happened. I noticed that this Eagles for Life 17 guy hasn't made any videos since the Cowboys came back from that 24-21 in the third quarter lead and then took the lead for good and went ahead and beat the Eagles 38-27. Notice he hasn't made any videos since then, given his excuses why the Cowboys won that game and won such a big game and why the Eagles pretty much all the way around fell flat on their face. So, yeah, where's your video talking about how great the Eagles are now, Mr. Eagles for Life 17, and where is your excuses? Anyway, the Cowboys could still lose the NFC East even after taking the lead with a 10-4 record over the Eagles' 9-5 record with just 2 games to go. Dallas has a split with the Eagles, but Dallas has to continue to win. Dallas has control over winning the NFC East. It's in their own hands. All they have to do is win the last 2 games. It doesn't matter what anybody else does. Dallas has Indianapolis at home, and then they go up and play the Redskins. Now, Indianapolis, even though they've already won their division and they're already in the playoffs, they're guaranteed in the playoff spot. This game's not going to mean as much to the Colts, but there's no pressure on the Colts either. So the Colts can air it out. The Colts can go hog wild, and that may be dangerous for Dallas. Now, the Eagles' last 2 games are against the Giants. First, they're going to play the Redskins, and then they play the Giants the last game where Dallas plays the Colts, and then they finish up in Washington. So they do have one common opponent these last 2 weeks. Saturday, the Eagles play the Redskins, and then the next week, the last week of the season, the Eagles play the Giants. Those two are an easier schedule, last 2 games, than the Cowboys playing the Colts and the Redskins. The Redskins have already beat Dallas once. I expect Dallas to get revenge on the Redskins and split that just like they did with the Eagles. I have confidence that Dallas, with their superior 7-0 record of winning away from home this year, that they'll also be able to beat the Redskins at home the last game. Dallas does have that history of crumbling the last game when everything's on the line. So I'm hoping that the Cowboys can go ahead and wrap up the division title this weekend. I'm hoping the Redskins can actually defeat the Eagles, who've looked kind of in a slump the last 2 games. They lost a big one to Seattle, and then they lost to Dallas here. So I'm hoping their confidence is a little bit down, and Washington comes in and plays spoiler and surprises them when the Eagles play the Redskins this Saturday. If that happens, Dallas wins against the Colts, it's all wrapped up. Dallas has won the NFC East. If they both win, if the Cowboys both win, and the Eagles both win, then it's going to go down to that last week. Dallas would need to win again, and then it wouldn't matter what the Eagles do. Now, if they wind up tied, the Eagles are going to end up taking the NFC East crown. So if they end up at the end of the season with a tie record, say they're both 11-5 or whatever, then the Eagles would win the NFC East. So it's very important for the Cowboys to win out. We can hope that the Eagles lose, but even if the Eagles lose, we still want to go ahead and win this weekend so that we go ahead and win the NFC East and we're not put in the last weekend at the last minute. Now, there's other ways the Cowboys could get in, and that's basically going up against Green Bay and I think the Lions. We would need to win and hope they lose. If that happens, then I think if we win and the Green Bay Packers lose and the Lions lose, that's not likely to happen this weekend. But if that were to happen, Dallas would clinch a playoff spot anyway as at least a wild card. The main thing is Dallas just needs to win. They control their own destiny. If they win, they're in. So last 2 games, the Colts have already got the playoff wrapped up. So, the game's not going to mean as much to them. Like I say, it could mean that they play more freely without a care in the world, and they could open things up, which could spell danger for the Dallas defense. But a lot of it, too, is going to depend on DeMarco Murray. He just had surgery on his hand. He had a broken bone in his left hand. So he had surgery on Monday evening to get that replaced. Jerry Jones seems optimistic that he'll play this weekend. I don't know about that. If, our beast in the backfield doesn't carry the ball, and we have to depend on Joseph Randle, we may not be able to get the kind of yards and production out of them that we was with DeMarco Murray handing him the ball 30 or 40 times a game, as DeMarco Murray has been a beast all season, just carrying the workload of the running for the Cowboys. So that's going to be a big factor, is if DeMarco Murray can play, and if he can play, can he hold on to the ball? We certainly don't need him out there playing if he's hurting or if he's fumbling the ball. I have confidence that Tony Romo can, use his passing and passing attack to win the game. Well, that's going to, if that happens, that could actually get into a shootout between Tony Romo and Andrew Luck. Both quarterbacks can be red hot, and it could be a big scoring game if that happens. And the Indianapolis Colts don't have a huge rushing attack either. I don't know how good their defense is. I haven't really watched a lot of them, how they play on defense. But could be a shootout in Dallas. The thing I'm worried about more than anything, more than even the Indianapolis Colts this weekend when Dallas plays Indy, is I'm worried about Dallas. Whatever it is mentally for the Cowboys that's keeping them from winning their home games. Just like they got crushed by the Eagles on Thanksgiving Day at home. The Cowboys are 7-0 this season, which is unheard of on the road. But at home is where they've had all their losses. They're only 3-4 at home. So so far they've lost more games than they've won at home. And I don't understand that. So, this might be some kind of a mental or psyche issue within the Cowboys themselves. So our own worst enemy might be Dallas. Is Dallas going to beat themselves this weekend at home again? So that scares me more than Andrew Luck or than the Indianapolis Colts actually scare me. So we'll see what happens. I think that the Cowboys are going to win this weekend again, though. I predicted the Cowboys would beat Philadelphia. I predicted that score, and it was really close to what I predicted last week. Got a little bit lucky there. I certainly wasn't predicting Dallas to go up 21-0 and then to drop that lead and then come back. That certainly wasn't how I was expecting that score to go about. But I think the Cowboys are going to get a pretty dominant win against the Colts at home this weekend. Again, it's going to depend on if DeMarco Murray plays, but even if he doesn't, I see Joseph Randle having a pretty decent game. I think Jason Witten's going to have a big game this weekend, and I actually see either Cole Beasley or Terrence Williams coming up big against Indianapolis. I think Des Bryant, I think they're going to double cover him. He'll get some catches, but I think that I'm predicting that either Terrence Williams or Cole Beasley will have a big game, probably well over 100 yards and maybe a touchdown or two. I'd like to see that again for Cole Beasley. He's been pretty ferocious for a little guy. He's fun to watch. But we'll see what happens this week in Indianapolis. It's going to be a huge game for Dallas, and I'm also going to be hoping that the Redskins can handle the Eagles on Saturday night as well. So we'll see what happens there. In the meantime, I want to go ahead and get everybody else's opinions. Be sure you leave your comments down below. Are you liking these videos? What do you think about the Cowboys' chances this year? Are they going to make the playoffs, or are they going to crumble again in their last two games here and give the spot back up to the Eagles and lose their playoff contention, which I think they've earned this year. They're 10-4, but they're going to have to continue to win out this last part of the season. If they win their last two games, go 12-4, they certainly deserve a playoff spot. And if they do that, I think they might even get a first week bye. Not sure. We'll see how it all plays out. It depends on what all the other teams do, Green Bay and the Lions and everybody else. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. This has been Zaxter99 with my thoughts and talk, which I call Dallas Cowboys TNT. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Take care. We'll see you this weekend.